Okay, so by the end of this video, you will know exactly how much it costs to develop and launch an app in New Zealand. And make sure you stick around to the end where I will show you how a new wave of Kiwis are validating their app ideas at a fraction of the cost. Let's get started. So the way I've broken down the costs for building an app are really simple. You've got 5 Ds to think about: design, development, deployment, delivery, and distribution. Okay, up first is design. Now, this is what your app is going to look and feel like. It could include things like simple wireframes all the way to full-on UI kits, user interface. Now, this includes, logo, branding, colors, buttons. Every single pixel could have been designed before you start building. This is really important because you want to know what features you're actually going to need to build before you start building. Now, every one of these costs is going to be on a range from MVP to full build. MVP means minimum viable product. This is the most basic version of your app that still solves the pain point for your user. Now, full build, if you think Airbnb, right? You've got thousands of features, dozens of pages, and it's a really heavy full stack application at that point. Now, for design, your costs are going to range from $2,000 for an MVP all the way up to $10,000 plus for a full build. Okay, number 2, development. Development, again, we're going to have an MVP rate and a full build rate, but development means what it actually takes to build your app. Now, this is where the most time and cost with any app goes in, because essentially you're paying for someone's salary for a certain amount of time to physically drill down and build your code. Now, this can include things like your front end, back end, authentication, payments if you've got them, API connections, maybe even an admin panel so you can manage some of the app yourself. The costs here range from $10,000 for an MVP all the way up to $60,000 plus for a full build. Now, if you are building a really intricate app or it's got a lot of data and you've got a lot of features, this could be all the way up to $200,000. Number 3 is deployment. Now, this is an interesting one. Deployment means getting your app online and in users' hands. Now, the costs here are mainly subscription fees. So you've got obviously the app stores, Apple and Google Play, but then you might have one for your database, for your domain, for your hosting. You might have tools that help connect your app to an email provider, etc. Now, the costs here are per year, and you're looking at $800 for an MVP to start off with, all the way up to $5,000 plus for a full build. Number 4, delivery. Now, delivery means project management and quality assurance and adding features. So if you think about it like this, you're going to need someone to actually maintain your app once it's built, unless you know how to do that, which most of us don't, right? Now, these costs could range from $2,000 a year all the way up to $80,000 plus for a full build. Usually this looks like a retainer with a development agency or a freelancer, and they're always on call to make sure they're handling any bugs or errors with the app and to do development sprints for new features you want to add. Finally, we've got number 5, distribution. Now, this is easily the most overlooked out of all of them, but I think it is the most important. What good is a fantastic app if no one knows about it? Distribution is getting your app out into the world, getting users, revenue, and traffic. Now, this could be things like building a landing page, paying an influencer, building a wait list. You could do social media content, ads, SEO. There's thousands of different ways to actually get your app out in the world. But for costs, we're looking at $1,000 per year for an MVP, up to $10,000 plus for a full build. And if you have a giant marketing budget with a giant startup, you're obviously going to be spending a lot more than that. So totals, we've got $15,800 for an MVP, all the way up to $165K for a full build. This is in New Zealand dollars, and yeah, you're probably excluding GST at this point as well. Now, if you're looking at those numbers and thinking, Oh my gosh, $15,000 starting for an app. I have nowhere near that money. I don't even have two, three, four, $5,000. Then I just want to tell you that there is an emerging trend right now, and I call it the prototype. Now, this is specifically what I help Kiwis do in New Zealand, is actually help build the simplest form of your app to validate it first. This starts at $1,000. And I've helped these guys here, business owners, get their idea into the world without spending 10, 20, 40, 50K on an idea you don't actually know if users will like yet. An example of this is Matt. So Matt wanted to build a rural property listing marketplace. It's a great idea. The incumbents like trademehomes.co, they don't give people who are in that rural industry looking for farmland and lifestyle blocks enough information. They don't really serve, they might give them the hectares, etc., but they're not telling them what the grazing's like or the water supply or, the 1,000 other amenities you might want to know. Anyway, I told him, look, mate, great idea, but let's validate it. So I built him a simple 1-page, 2-page prototype. Now it's not connected to any data, so it's all kind of, I guess you'd say, dummy data. And he was able to take that to go to real estate agencies and vendors and add people to a wait list before he's had to commit tens of thousands of dollars to build it first. Now, look, the great thing about that is that you could even ask people for deposits. Look, I'll give you a lifetime deal. If you're invested in the idea, put down $100 now and I'll make sure, you've got 80% off for the rest of your life, etc. That way, your users are actually paying for the features they want, or even for an MVP. Now, the reason I tell you this is because, look, at App House, we do help people do this, but I would just encourage you, even if you don't use me, try and validate your idea first before committing a lot of cash. The easiest way to do this is with a prototype and a waitlist. If you want to learn more, you can click subscribe, follow me on the journey of building a startup every day for 30 days. I think we're up to day 8 now, and we'll see you in the next one.